You are listening to the Milan Weekly Podcast, the English voice of Radio Rossonera and Milan fans all over the world.
Sensational from him. Rafael Leao produces a moment of utter magic.
Teo Hernandez al volo! Teo Hernandez! Ancora lui! Una meraviglia!
Ibrahimovic! Zlatan Ibrahimovic! Fuori classe assoluto!
Surprise! We're early! Well, to the 17 people watching us. Stevie P, what's happening?
Nothing much. Ready for action.
Ready for action. We're gonna give everybody a couple minutes because we got a lot of shit to talk about. We have a draw to announce. We have our guest waiting on the. He's in the green room, Steve. He's in the green room, and that's about it. Buonasera a tutti. Lisa, Frank. Yes, nice Sensafina intro. Yes. Thank you to Jan for those. For the war drums, that's the way he calls it. Alessandro, Timmy, Gio, what's happening? Liban, Youssef. Guys, already 22, Steve. I think they want us, I think everybody's happy. I guess
very happy. Everybody's very happy. Be happy.
Be happy. This is from Negative Steve saying be happy, right? Steve, he's been getting the heat lately on social media. But let's get the show started, Steve. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Here we go.
Hulk Hogan, no, don't look in front, don't look to the sides, look straight up, because I'm right on top of you, yeah. Oh, yeah.
In the words of the Macho Man, look straight up, Stevie, because we'll be right there. Cari amici sportivi, welcome yet to another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast. Here we talk everything Milan, from derby winning Milan to a not as much as COVID Milan, and we're not professionals.
Nor do we pretend to be.
Stevie P, Vinny T, faithfully here every single week, and good evening to everybody. Already 30 of you watching us live. My internet is not lagging. We're having a great Monday so far, because usually Mondays suck, Steve. But how about you? Great weekend. Presidente showered you with gifts, I hear. What's going on over there?
Yeah, so as you guys could see, I don't have my customer service headset anymore. We have a brand new mic. It's off to my right. You don't see it. Sound is great. Tested it before. Listening to it with it's a special tribute to our guest. I'm using this headset to listen to myself, which I sound very, very sexy. And it was a fantastic weekend. We winterized here in Canada, putting up tempos. For people who don't know what a tempo is, you can Google that shit. We put that up. We had Milan win, derby, rossonero. So let's go.
Guys, so before we get into it, we need to announce our first of two prizes for all renewing members of the Milan Club Montreal. Steve, Presidente, if you'd like to explain how the process went of him selecting these winners. I know there was a lot of calculus, a lot of calculators there. There was diagrams. He was in the bunker till late nights, and he came up with some winners, did he not?
Yeah. So for all Milan Club members, the returning members who renewed their membership this year, this is the first of the prizes. There's a couple that we gave out. So I'll be going in order of the winners that Presidente collected from his calculation of the stars, randomization, and provided that to me via, when they give out the Oscars, the guys come out in that suitcase that's handcuffed to their wrist. I got it via that. And
he sent us a video of him doing the randomizer too online, just to make sure there was no conspiracies.
For people who don't believe us, he has himself on video, never showing his face, but actually picking these winners. So I'm going to name them out, starting from 6th to 1st. 6th being it's no prize for 6th. You actually get to pick something from 6th to 2nd. You pick something from our numerous items from Puma Milan and Puma that we've had and we've collected last year and this year. So you get to pick from there. The number one and the big prize is the authentic jersey, right? So you've seen the multiple pictures on social media. It's not a surprise to anybody. The big number one prize is something really special, guys. I was able to see it at Mario store, G2K Vape on La Cordere. If ever you guys want to vape, go to Mario. That's a selfless plug for Mario. So, going in order. Number 6, Matteo Di Fazio.
Matteo Di
Fazio, number 6. Number 5, I'm going to destroy even the members' last names. Sergio Charivella Jr. Sergio Charivella Jr. is number 5.
You should
Number
be commentating.
4, Lisa Trevisono. Lisa Trevisono. Number 3, David Garaccio. Number 3.
David.
Number 2, Simon Coletti.
Very nice, Simon. Very nice. And who's winning the
Number
zebra
1,
jersey?
the grand prize winner for the authentic Milan jersey that you will be picking up at Mario store is Sam Graniti.
Hey, Sam, congratulations.
Sam is a big winner. Congratulations, Sam, and everybody else who won. I hope you'll listen to this podcast to get who finished where. If you guys didn't get it, I named off from 6 to 1. 1 being the grand prize winner, which is Sam Graniti. And guys, that's about it. So
fantastic. And next week,
I'm pretty sure Presidente is gonna post this on social media somewhere.
Next week we're doing for the new members, so stay tuned for that one. Friday. Sorry. So before, without further ado, let's bring on our special guest. We do have Frank from SerieAsitdown. He's got his background ready. Look at those jerseys. Beautiful, beautiful. How are you, Frank?
I had to send the Red Pack home tonight. They usually are behind me during the SerieAsitdown. This is a red and black night, baby.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I watched it from home, and yes, Gio, you was 9 a.m. I had a couple of beers. I had beers for several people on that day. How about you, Frank? How did you watch this game? Obviously in lockdown, I don't know how the things are over there in down south in where you live, but what did you do for the game?
I watched it in the comfort of my own living room. I had a little, had a little pad. I when I watch games like this, I take notes. I want to try to capture what's going on with the game and things that I'm catching. So, there are moments where I like getting together, and one of these days we'll get together in big crowds. I got to get out and see you guys when all of this is over. But that's what I did. Watched it in the comfort of my own living room with my kids playing in the background. So. I was screaming. My daughter was plugging her ears. My son is a Juventino. He wasn't happy. So I don't know how he became a Juventino. I'm still working on that, guys. All right. But nonetheless, in the comfort of my own living room, and enjoyed every minute of it. Fantastic.
And Stevie P, I know you had the kids at home as well. How did you embark on this game? And Ramiz, the camera angle for Steve. Steve is a god. He's a good-looking guy. Look at him from any angle. But to the 56 live viewers, Steve, how did you watch this game? And all smiles, the kids running around. How did you manage that?
Yeah, so for me, I snuck out. I did something I was not supposed to do. I wanted to entertain my son Gianfranco. He likes to watch the games, so we went over, and I went over to a snake's house. I watched it with a snake. I watched it with Francis Giacomo, also a patron of ours, an Interista. But friends for the longest time, and we can watch the game, and it's not yelling and screaming at stupidity. But hey, we were able to watch the game. The kids amused themselves downstairs. We didn't have anybody nagging us, and it was good. It felt good. I'm telling you, he lives, Frank, just for everybody, Frank, and for everybody online, he lives in an area of Montreal called Montreal North. Let me tell you that when the final whistle blew, all of Montreal North knew that we won the derby.
Before we get into the question, because we are going to talk about this game a lot, because all the questions are all over the place. But I wanted to ask you guys your general feelings from this game itself. I'm gonna just start off by saying, like, at one point I couldn't believe it was 2-0 after, what was it, guys, 20 minutes. Especially that second goal from Salad Maker, doing that turn to Hakan to that little dummy from Leao to Ibra. And I just felt at the end of the game that these are the kind of games, let's be honest, second half wasn't the greatest second half for Milan, but in the end, I found myself thinking, as we used to discuss in the past, Steve, the way Juventus were always like, oh my God, they played like shit, but they still found the ways how to win. And I found myself thinking of this, where I'm not saying we played okay, but it looks like we're finding ways to win. And I don't know, maybe, you know what, Frank, I'm going to ask you first. What were your general feelings from the game itself, and did you feel the same way at the end?
After digesting this, and after kind of letting the euphoria set aside and maybe decompressing a little bit from the game, I look at it and I say, you know what, we got lucky. We won the match. All right, we deserved to win the match. We finished our chances, but we had a little bit of luck. And the reason why I say that, I said there were some exactly. It looks like Alessandro is hitting my point right away. The chances from Hakimi and Lukaku in the second half, you usually see those guys score those. So there were moments that Inter created that they didn't take advantage of, that we obviously will benefit from and we'll take all day long. I also thought that we got a little bit predictable in our play as the game went on, and some of that was manifested with the substitutions that Pioli made. Yes, Pioli's absolutely a great manager, but I think this is one where we kind of got away with it a little bit. But at the end of the day, when we're starved for 3 points against our city rivals, we're going to take it no matter how it comes.
And we did definitely deserve to win. Inter not maximizing on their chances. Got a bit lucky as well with that Kessie yellow card. That looking back on it, I don't know. Francis asked us about it. We're going to touch base. How about you, Steve? Your general feelings of the game itself. I know that you tweeted out finally. I don't know if you were listening to CC Peniston's "Finally" song, but a weight off your shoulders. What were your general feelings?
Yeah, for me, guys, look, everybody knows, Frank knows, I sit in on the comments on SerieAsitdown. When Milan comes up, he knows that I'm really tough on Milan. And I'm really tough on Milan because, like I said multiple times last week, I don't want Milan to finish 7th, 6th, and 5th. I don't want my Milan to finish 4th. I want to win championships. That's what I want to do. I want to make it to Champions League, and I want to be competitive in Champions League. That's why I'm so tough. I also said last week, and Frank, I touched it. I know through the comments on SerieAsitdown. For me, the derby is a game in itself. I take it away from the season because no matter the form, no matter who's hot and who's not, the derby is that 90 minutes where I want everybody to leave everything out on the field. And I think Milan, the players, I don't want to nitpick at anything. Milan's players left everything out on the pitch. There was not more that they could give, right? And I agree with you, Frank. Yes, and we did get lucky. Those chances of Lukaku was lucky. But in the end, like I saw some of the comments, guys, I'm giving my brioche of the week, and I'm gonna tell you right away, guys, is Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte and his stubborn, bald-headed...
You're in digestion.
No. It's my brioche of the week.
Okay.
My brioche of the week is Antonio Conte. And because he's so stubborn and he knows nothing else but his stupid 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, that he lost the game for Inter. He started 2 guys who are nowhere close to being center backs in a back 3. So you're asking for it. Frank on SerieAsitdown had said, please start Kolarov. He starts Kolarov. Beautiful. Jackpot, guys. Jackpot. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Milan's game plan was simple. Ibra, go and find Kolarov, or go and find D'Ambrosio and post up on these guys because they can't handle you. And we did it over and over and over again. And Inter had no answer in the first half. Absolutely no answer. So when you do things like that, Interisti out there, all you little snake fans, stop with your stupid comments that it took a COVID, it took an injury. Shut up, you Inter fans. Shut the hell up. Antonio Conte, your coach, $12 million man, he cost you the game. Milan is champions of the derby. We won it, and we haven't won in a long time. Too bad.
And to Interistas, if you keep on telling us stop living in the past, don't come out and say it's the first one in 5 years that you guys won. So we'll leave it at that. Let's take it over to questions because we have quite a few. So starting with the Patreon, Nitin is asking, I'm going to go with you, Frank, first. Hey, guys, can't wait for the breakdown from the derby and all the news. I'm still buzzing from the win, so happy to see Ibra and Romagnoli back. My only question is, how long do you think Milan can stay unbeaten at this point? Sooner or later, something has to give. To Youssef's question, because we can tie it in, he says that he doesn't want to be the party pooper, but I'm curious to see how the team would react to a loss. Are they going to be big boys and react well, or everything will crumble and we'll be back at square one? So talking about that, right now, Frank, how do you think this team would react to a loss? Let's say it is Serie A, right? Let's say we go lose to a Crotone. It's been 20 games, right?
We played Crotone already.
A Spezia or whatever.
We played Spezia already. Bring them on, guys. Bring them on.
But how do you think right now we are top of the table, right? And I know it's very early to talk, but how do you think this team would need to do to handle a loss? Handle it like men. Obviously, it's easier said than done, but what are your thoughts on those?
If this was the squad from 2 years ago, I'd be much more worried than I would be now. And the reason why I say that is because we have much more of a veteran presence in that dressing room than we've ever had. And it's not just Ibrahimovic. You're talking about Simon Kjaer. You're talking about this, please, I still have to get the name right, Tatarusanu, who, while, okay, he's basically there to hand out towels, but he has been in a lot of different environments and knows his way around. Kessie's getting more experience now. Çalhanoğlu, I think, is a veteran player and is turning into an elite playmaking midfielder right before our eyes over this period here in 2020. It had to take 2020 for Hakan Çalhanoğlu for me to call him world class, but he is pretty much there now. So I think that we have the dressing room that can cope with something like that. That said, we're going to lose a game at some point, okay? And we shouldn't be taken by surprise when it happens. There are some very dynamic teams in this league, and there are teams that are equipped and set up to beat us. You look at what Napoli's been doing. It's a shame what happened to them with the Juventus situation. You look at even with the spanking that Atalanta took to them, they're still very dangerous. Juve will see what they're really going to be when they have everybody. But you got teams like Sassuolo who can score with anybody right now. You got teams like that, and it only takes an away game at a smaller team that they might overlook because a bigger game is on the horizon. Those things still just happen. So a lot of those things could possibly be, could possibly go on, but I trust the dressing room that's in place, and I trust the veterans that are in place. We didn't have these kind of players even 2 years ago.
Exactly. No, it's very well put, right? And that's all going to be how we react. I know we have several games coming up. We are playing Celtic, I was told. And then we're playing Roma, then we're playing back Sparta Prague. Steve, I'm going to throw you this one here. Ryan Percy asking us, huge win for the team. 2 questions. How long do we ride the Ibra train? And if you had to sign up Vis Ibra to carry us forward, who would you realistically go for? And second one, I'm still concerned about our right wing position. I would rather have Hoj on the right wing than Castillejo or Salad Makers. Castillejo is made of glass, and Salad Maker whiffs at the ball when he gets to the final third. At least Hoj has played there before. What are your thoughts? I don't know, Steve. Would you? I don't have anything bad to say about Salad Makers. He might, whiff the ball, but that's always with the experience. Castillejo, he just runs, but sometimes he does. He hasn't had those great games. He gives his all, 100%. But would you see Hoj, maybe Haj, whatever his name is? Would you see him in that kind of position, or are you with Ryan that you're worried about that right wing position?
I've been worried. I told you guys that I wanted to address the right wing position. I think we needed a little bit more experience there and a little bit more continuity. Like we're not getting that continuity from Castillejo. And I really like Castillejo because I think he's a player who leaves everything out on the field. Just that when he gets to the final third, man, he's just a chicken without a head, right? He doesn't know if he wants to. He doesn't know if he wants to shoot. He doesn't know if he wants to dribble, and he doesn't know if he wants to pass. So he's like in between those three huge decisions that he needs to make. And we all know there. We watch the game. If you're not a step ahead, if you don't know what you want to do before you get the ball, there's a very good chance that you're going to end up losing the ball. So that's what we get from Castillejo, and hopefully, at the end of last year, we saw a little bit more before he got hurt. We saw him a little bit more positive, and as Suso was going out the door, he was becoming more positive. Now with Salchicha Maker, and I can't. I'm not gonna lie to everybody and say, look, hey, we knew who he was before he got to Milan. Hey, remember, this guy was bought as a right back. And now he's found this position, right in front of Calabria. What a fantastic game. Where, guys, he's a young player, and we gave Benacer the time to adapt to Serie A and given the fact that he came from Empoli, we gave him the time to adapt to Milan. Salchicha Maker, we threw him in. We have no one else there on the right-hand side, right? So is he the perfect right wing? No. But you know what? He's been earning his spot. He's been earning his start over Castillejo, and I don't disagree with Pioli starting him there because it seems like they have some sort of connection on that right hand side. And guys, as we saw, look at Inter. Inter wanted nothing to do with that right hand side. Mind you, they had Perisic on that side, who I don't know if he was still at the bar, and Brozovic was still at the bar that night. They were terrible, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to say how it is. And they chose not to go to that right-hand side, and they chose to go to our left, which is their right with Hakimi. Hakimi versus Theo Hernandez, which I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about that after.
Yeah. And that
says a lot. That says a lot about what Calabria and Salchicha Maker were doing on that right hand side, right? So, with the beginning of the question there, just to go back, how long do you want to ride the Ibra train, guys? We have no choice to ride this train till the end.
Yep,
we have to ride it till the end. People are saying, Steve, who do you want to sign as a VC, bro? Guys, you have to use the players that you have. To be very honest with you, that Vis Ibra needs to be one of the players that we have right now. If we don't, we have a serious problem. And from the looks of it, we don't have that player because Leao seems to be more comfortable on the left. Rebic seems to be more comfortable on the left. To sign players, guys, we don't know. If we make Champions League, there's one class of player that we could go after. If we don't make Champions League, guys, you're gonna have to find someone. And Hoj on the right-hand side. Guys, Hoj, let's be honest, guys. He was dominant in the Norwegian League. And no disrespect to the Norwegian League, but we all know that Serie A is a different animal. This kid has talent. He played against Milan, and he ran through us on that right-hand side. He was dynamic. Besides that, guys, I haven't seen much more of him. And if he is that diamond in the rough, let's keep him as a little diamond now and just ease him into it. I would like to see him at Celtic. I would like to see him in the Europa League and see what he gives against a team like Celtic.
I mean, if I can jump in on the Salamakers talk, we're talking about a guy that came over from the Belgian league, and he's a teenager. Clearly when he was coming over, there was going to be an adaptation period, and I think that he is growing. I think that he still has a ways to go, but I think he's had a couple performances here that have been better, clearly than when he started.
Yeah.
Now, the only issue that Castillejo, the issue that I have with him is the same issues that you have, Steve. And when Pioli made these changes to try to, and basically he made the changes, and Lisi and I got into this. I didn't want Leao coming out of the game. And the reason for that was he was the one guy that was playing in a high position, that was dribbling, and that could take these guys on and create some problems. Now you're going with Hakan moving over to the left, and then Castillejo comes in for Salamakers. Well, now the game plan is Krunic is going to help Teo out with dealing with Hakimi. Now the game plan is hoof it to Ibra and hope we can get somebody running off of it. I would have preferred Brahim Diaz to come in on that right-hand side than Castillejo, because that still gives you that dribbler, and especially on Kolarov's side. And that still gives you a little bit of flexibility, and you can do a couple of different things when you try to counter them. I think the last 30 minutes of the match, everything was all about just getting it to Ibra, and then hoping that we could play off of him. And I just thought that got too predictable.
That's very well said. And as I'm listening to all our answers, I'm like, we went through 3 questions. I'm like, Steve, remember when we had to have a 45-minute limit? This is not going less than 45 minutes.
Have you listened to SerieAsitdown? We've never heard of a limit.
That's when Presidente wanted us to be nice to Radio Rossonera. But on to the next one. Colin asking us there on Patreon. Great start to the season, and while we only had Inter to really challenge us, it's still nice to see. Ibra and even Romagnoli weren't 100%, but still great to see. Kajar and Kessie were phenomenal, and I have to mention Calabria and Leao, who are starting to mature. I read that the Cordone referee has been demoted to Serie B after the Juve game. I'll leave it to that. Speaking of, he's touching base on Calabria, and I know that, I'm going to refer to Ian saying same thing. He goes, when I was on the podcast on the preseason, I mentioned how I like Calabria ahead of Conte due to his form at the end of the last season and because of his younger age and ability to improve. Steve disagreed and still preferred Conte, citing his plays against Ronaldo last season in the win over Juve. Has Calabria recent play changed your mind at all, Steve? Could you go back to Conte as a right back? So let's touch base, answering Colin, mentioning Calabria and Leao, we did touch a little bit base, but Calabria had a hell of a game. And Steve, I even made the point of texting you because it's like sometimes, you listen to commentators and try to form an opinion, but I was just looking at him like, holy shit. And it's nice to see. And I don't know if we're going to go back to the whole consistency talk, but he's had a fantastic start of the season, has he not?
Yeah, he has a great start there. Guys, I'm not going to go away from my point. Barring injury, Conte is the superior right back of the two. And Conte is one who plays he's like almost like a right wing back, you understand? So you take this guy and you're playing out of position, and he had some good games. Yeah, but he's injury prone. He's made out of glass. Calabria last year, I don't know where his confidence went, but wherever it went, he found it this year. Let me tell you that much. And I can't deny it that, yes, he is the starting right back now. And even if Conte does come back, you cannot take Calabria out of the game. It's suicide, right? But
it's good to have this kind of a rotation and having this kind of confidence in these players.
You need the depth. And I'm not saying you have to play with Milan last year. At a certain point, you have to play the people that are hot. And Conte was hotter than Calabria. As a lukewarm hot, but he was hotter than Calabria. Let's face it. You have a game and a performance against an aging Ronaldo. Okay, I get Ronaldo in his prime is nowhere close to the Ronaldo now, but you still keep him in check, and you have a good game, and you have two really fragile knees. I'm going to give you the thumbs up, right? But this year, Calabria is the starting right back. Even if Conte comes back, he's not getting in the lineup till hopefully something like we need to rotate or there's a loss of confidence. But the right-hand side, guys, is somewhere that I thought a lot of teams would attack us more. And look, again, in the derby, in a very important game, they chose not to go on our right-hand side. They chose to go on our left-hand side. And, we talked about that switch for Leao. Look, Leao had a good derby. He usually comes up with the derby, a great assist. But, guys, there's a lot of garbage in Leao's game. There's a lot. Let's be real. You understand? I'm positive about the win. I love the win. But there's a lot of garbage in Leao's game. Guys, he was missing 2-foot passes. We were not clinical on finishing the game off and killing the game off. And if we tie the game, people will look back at those missed chances, guys. But unfortunately, till he cleans up that garbage in his game,
the thing is that when he does something good,
get on the Leao train, right? I think that change was actually pretty intelligent by Pioli to bring in Krunic to help out Theo because he was getting destroyed.
Oh, I'm not doubting the Krunic change. I understand why that was necessary. I was not when we went to the shape of 4-3-3. I was not a fan of Hakan high on the left, Ibra in the middle, and then Samu on the right. You know, if you want to do Hakan on the left, that's fine. I understand it. If you're trying to do this 4-3-3, I would have preferred Diaz over Castillejo.
No. But I'm just saying, even not to you, Frank. I'm just saying I saw people out there. What a crazy change, guys! The goal of Milan and the goal of that derby is 3 points.
Yep.
Everybody is able to be substituted, and we have 5 right now. And he, as a manager, Pioli, sees that our left-hand side is getting destroyed. And it's not on Rodriguez. It's not on Theo Hernandez, because we ask him to be so offensive that Frank, what were my comments? It saved my comments from SerieAsitdown. I said it would be a battle between Theo and Hakimi. Who would be playing defense more would win. And the first half, Hakimi was all on the offense because there was no help on the left-hand side.
The first
Theo
minute,
Hernandez
Steve,
by himself.
he nutmegged them in the first minute, and at least it didn't shake him too much from over there. But definitely, like agreeing with you on the Leao. Let's get these questions on the way, guys. Now, from our Francis, our garden snake friend. First of all, congratulations to you and all your fans on this derby win. I will ask the questions that no one else will. A. Should Kessie have been sent off? Should Lukaku have been called offside? And finally, was it a PK for Inter? And all this being said, Milan deserved the win because Inter did not play to the level and Milan took advantage of it. So, Frank, I don't know if you saw that Kessie foul in slow motion. For me, I think it was definitely a red. We've seen stuff like that pulled a red card. Maybe missed it on there. What did you think? Was it a red card offense to you?
You know, I never know. I've given up on trying to figure out what goes on in the mind of these referees in this league. I really have. I'd say no to the red because I've seen harsher than that even let go or let go with a yellow. So I'd say no to that. Lukaku offside. That's a huge break that went our way. I really think so. I think that I was braced for having to hope that Donnarumma would come up hero again, saving penalties, which is what he's really good at. I was pretty much bracing myself for that. I was pretty much bracing myself for VAR confirming that it was going to be a penalty. So my shock, offside wasn't even anything that I was considering at the time when I was watching the VAR review. And their interpretation was Christian Eriksen attempted to play a pass, and at the time he attempted to play it, Lukaku was in an offside position, but it deflected off of one or two of our defenders and then got to Lukaku. Well, I guess the letter of the rule of the law of offside was strictly being interpreted there, because if the Milan player in that situation isn't intentionally playing it backwards to Lukaku in an offside position, then he's offside because he was in an offside position from where the pass originated from Eriksen. So it depends on how you interpret the law. I actually thought we caught a break. At the time I watched it, I thought we caught a huge break. But it was a very strict interpretation of the law of offside as I understand it.
And Steve, how about for you? The Kessie foul, was it a red card offense to you? Even though all the ex-referees...
People have to stop looking at these things in super slow motion.
Vidal, too, merited some yellow cards at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, right?
If we're going to start looking at these things in super slow motion, there's going to be cards everywhere. It's gameplay action. It's how it happens. It's the same thing. I was pissed off at Rebic getting a red card for his stupidity, his foul in the Coppa Italia. Yeah. You look at it super slow motion, it looks like he's playing Mortal Kombat and he wants to take off someone's head. You play Kessie's foul in super slow motion, it looks like he's committing a mass murder. Guys, come on, it's a game, man. Remember that it's boys. It's boys that are playing rough.
Well, ask Chiesa about his foul, see if it merited a red card. But that's a story from
yeah, you see, so you have to watch you have to be able to interpret what's happening in that game, right? For the penalty shot, guys, to be very honest, I was watching it with Francis. I said no to the penalty shot. I'm saying like Donnarumma's challenge on Lukaku. I think Lukaku made the most of it, and he left his leg out there, and it's only normal. Donnarumma's momentum is taking him forward. He's trying to get out of the way, but you cannot get out of the way of that. And if you leave your leg behind, he's gonna end up hitting that leg, right? And the thing that I don't understand is when can we get to a point where his touch is so far away from the net, like it's not even towards goal, guys. The rule needs to change because there's something obviously wrong with the rule. His touch is away from goal. Guys, Lukaku is not a ballerina, guys. He's not going to get to that touch. So the goaler needs to be able to come out and needs to be able to challenge, right? Now you're telling these goalers you can't challenge anymore. So that was my argument with Francis. Of course, not of course, but he thought it was a penalty shot. But then offside, guys, I was just like, what the hell is going on over here? How did they even see that? And is it because like the ref is scared to make a decision? So he's like, oh my God, there's a player offside. Let's call it offside. So everybody's going to forget about the penalty shot. And I don't look like an idiot and I don't have to answer 100,000 questions from Gazzetta and all the reporters, right? So it's tough. I know the referees, guys. I give them a hard time. They have the tools, but it's in the end they're gonna make a call that's gonna turn the game upside down, right? And that call was gonna turn the game upside down.
And thank you for our first ever Steve. Over 60 live viewers. We're getting popular. Last question from Patreon, Frank. I'm going to throw it your way from Presidente Milan Club Philly, David. Milan keep finding ways to get it done, and I'm happy with the results. I can't help but think, though, that we're one injury to Ibra away from taking a turn for the worse. I don't see Rebic or Leao able to generate chances and goals to keep us at the top of the table. And the next few weeks are challenging. How do Milan rotate the squad? Do we prioritize the league or the Europa League?
David, he's like my inner brother.
We prioritize the league because we're on the top of it right now. And top four is a very significant possibility at a minimum. When you take a look at how Lazio are struggling, and I think that they're going to continue to struggle with the distraction of playing in the Champions League. I don't think that Roma are really that good. They got the benefit of playing a Benevento that, defending is optional. This is an Inter team that I think is going to struggle all season. I think defensively they're going to be this poor. I think that Kolarov can't defend, and trying to force him on the left side of a back three is just wrong. And hopefully Antonio Conte continues to do that. And then Juventus, I picked them to win the title again just because Juventus and just because of sporting judges that hand them 3-0 forfeit wins, and other crap that goes their way. So at a minimum, top four is very viable, and trying to get back into the Champions League and trying to get that revenue back is a big, big priority. So you prioritize that, and you use the Europa League as games to play Hoga and give him experience and playing, I'd love to figure out how you can play Tonali in there with Benacer and Kessie. But there's really at the moment, the way Benacer and Kessie are playing together, you really can't do that. You give Delo a chance to play. You give our Lord and Savior Gabbia a chance to play a little bit more in those Europa League games, Stevie. Yes, hey, serviceable. I didn't say that he was going to save us or take us to the promised land. That's the other reason why I wanted to come on, to set the record straight.
Yeah, but you know what, though? You touch on Gabbia, too, and I want to bring it up because we talked about luck. Guys, we decided in the Mercato that we were not going to add a center back. And as soon as we said we were not going to add a center back, in that international break, our starting center back at that time, Gabbia, gets COVID-19. He gets the pandemic virus that no one wanted. Mm-hmm. And perfect timing, or as luck have it, it's lucky, Romagnoli's back to starting.
Yeah, we're lucky.
Back to starting, I'm going to say starting form, because he didn't look like he missed a lot. He missed much. He looked a bit rusty, but I got to give it to him for that time that he was off. He didn't look too rusty. So luck plays a lot, and you know what? I get a lot of hate for being critical. It's not being critical, guys. It's that could have been a turning point, because you're not starting You're not starting Kajar and Romagnoli anymore. You're starting Kajar, and we don't have another center back to start if Romagnoli doesn't come back. So that means you're taking Kessie and you're asking him to play center back. And now you're starting with a midfield that has never played together. That's a different derby, guys. That's a different derby.
100%. But I think on his question, Europa League, Scudetto, I believe with this type of mentality, this winning mentality, having a rotation of players that you give these young players that have not chances to play, maybe that boost where, I don't mind if he wants to rotate the Europa League. I understand there's a lot of money involved into qualifying in the group stage, but I think this winning mentality and this winning streak is just going to do good for the guys that don't have that playing time. And on top of that,
the Europa League has nothing to do with money, Vinny. The Europa League for us has nothing to do with money.
Okay,
the amount
we're not
of
gonna
money,
make more.
we're probably going to spend more traveling than what we're going to get in terms of qualifying after the group stage. The Europa League, there's only one end goal to the Europa League, and that is for teams that are completely out of the race for fourth spot, and it's an entrance into the Champions League. That's the big money. And that means you have to win that tournament.
But still,
we don't have a team that's deep enough to do Campionato, Europa League, and Coppa Italia.
I agree.
Plain and simple. That's the truth, guys.
Totally agree with that one. Let's take it over to the Twitter machine. We started off with Eddie Milanista saying, I really like Leao, clearly very talented with the huge pace, yet he tends to walk around a lot and doesn't track back much. Is this a maturity thing that will get better with time, or does it have to do with him simply adjusting to as a left back? He brings up a good point. We spoke about him a lot of faulty beat. He does not track back as he should. But the thing is that then he makes plays like he made that play to Ibrahimovic, and a lot of people will just forget, right, what he's done in the last 10-15 minutes. But do you think it's laziness, Frank? Do you think it's just time adjusting?
I think it's adjusting. I mean, I didn't get to see enough of him at Lille to know if he just prefers to play higher and doesn't want to track back. He might be he's in a system where he has to, and it's evident because, Teo really struggled in this game, in this derby. He struggled big time, defensively and with the ball. It was one of Teo's poorest performances in a Milan shirt. I mean, that's one of the things that, I harped on Twitter. I think about every 15 minutes, I think I was tweeting, Teo has been poor. Teo has been poor. Teo has been poor. And if we have a left-sided player like Leao who's just going to remain high and not help give him some help, not help him on that flank defensively, that's just going to be an even bigger problem. And teams are going to start, overloading to that side, as Stevie mentioned. Said, all right, they're going to leave Leao up. We're going to have a lot of Hakimi 1v1 with Teo. We're going to have a lot of. We can get Lukaku over there, and they can combine around him. That they can get the midfielders to work around him. So in that, to the point of the tweet, Teo was hung out to dry a little bit, but he was also didn't handle himself in those situations. So for me, Leao, I don't know if he's necessarily lazy. I just don't. He's one of those that probably is not comfortable unless it's an attacking situation, and more importantly, unless he has the ball. And I think that as he grows in his career, he's going to have to learn these other aspects of the game.
If I could add to the Teo thing, I think that there was a lot of hype, right? I was watching Sky and I was reading the newspapers. There was a lot of hype. Hakimi versus Teo. Hakimi versus Teo. That's newspaper bullshit. Mm-hmm. There's no Hakimi versus Teo in the derby. There's Inter versus Milan, or Milan versus Inter. So if these two, if he took it as a challenge, as him against Hakimi, he's got to rethink the way he plays these derbies, because it's not 1 against 1. It's 11 against 11 plus the subs for 90 plus minutes of fucking hardcore shit soccer. There's no picking up, no saying hey, no giving out flowers, no hey, oh my god, are you okay? Did you get hurt? Fuck you. You got a foul. Get the fuck up. Let's go. That's the shit with that. That's the whole thing with the Teo, right? The Teo versus Hakimi. With the Leao guys, I get it. I'm very hard on Leao because I think the talent is there. The mindset, I don't think is there. And the adaptation to Serie A is still not there. And you know what, Frankie, you brought up a good point when you said, Salchicha Maker. Salchicha Maker, after a short period of time from Belgium to Serie A, guys, he knows the language. We know. He fell. Remember when they threw him on the floor and the fourth official microphone caught him saying, "Come vuoi giocare così? Come posso giocare così?" Guys, that's one important thing. He's learned the language. That's something that Paquetá didn't do. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Leao does that. I don't think Leao knows the language yet. Guys, it's just something that's plain. It's very simple in Serie A. I know it's hard. It's hard for these kids. And again, I bring it down that they're kids. But someone at the team or someone in their entourage needs to say, when you get to Serie A, one, get settled in, buy yourself some cleaning products, brush your teeth, put yourself some deodorant, a little bit of cologne, get yourself a nice little stylist. Step number 2 is go fucking learn Italian. Because that's how you're going to acclimate yourself to the league. Because these guys, they don't speak English. Unfortunately, they know all the rap hip-hop songs. They know Eminem. They know 50 Cent. They know Notorious B.I.G. But if you ask them, excuse me, can you tell me where the washroom is? Scusa, non parlo inglese. Well, fuck. The guy needs some help, man. Or put him with another Portuguese guy who knows how to speak Italian, and let's help him get acclimated. And I think that's a big part of Leao's game. And maybe that's what he doesn't understand. Maybe he's not getting the full scope of what Pioli wants him to do, what that full scope is of the pressing, what the full scope is of the defensive coverage. And guys, no one's going to have a perfect game. No one's going to have a 10-on-10 game. There's going to be shit in people's games. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, his shit is his garbage in the games is so, it comes out so much more because it's in a key situation of the game. It's that last ball. It's that extra touch. It's that first touch where it's either you're in on goal by yourself or you slow down the game for everybody. And I think it has to do with acclimation. I think someone needs to teach him how to teach him how to speak Italian. God, and we'll send people from here. If he wants, I'll tell him how to speak Calabrese. He's going to ask for culurilli and salchicha. What do you want me to tell you?
We'll send him with Presidente. And on that note, watch the shout out to Milan Club Singapore. So you asked for the shout out. There it is. And Milan clubs worldwide, Steve, worldwide. Daniel Palermo wanted to know, do you think Lukaku still has Romagnoli's underwear? And he posted a cone on that one. Send that out to you too as well. What else do we have here? Milanista new NYC saying,
hold on. What did he post?
He posted a cone. Do you think Lukaku still has Romagnoli's underwear? Daniel Palermo. Okay,
Lukaku never stopped playing. This guy came back from injury, and that's his tweet.
That's the tweet. I don't
reply to that guy. Reply through say no. He doesn't have Romagnoli's underwear because Kessie stole all his clothes.
Okay, I'll do that.
Because Lukaku has no more clothes now. Because the person who controls Lukaku now is Kessie.
Or is that question referring to because Lukaku, when he puts his back up to defenders and when he plays with it, when he holds up and plays with his back to goal, he does a lot of grabbing on the sides of the defenders short behind him. I don't know if he's
referring to that. Daniel, please specify what you meant. Daniel Palermo. Danny from Milanista NYC saying, I'm happy for the 3 points. I don't think Milan played well all 90 minutes. Do you think they're going to try to play? Do you think they are trying to play to form, or was this a hiccup? I'm not really understanding what you mean by this was a hiccup. Do you think that they are trying to play to form, or was this a hiccup? Sorry, do you guys maybe understand what he's trying to say on this one? Hiccup. I don't know if for me the hiccup was a good thing because we didn't play to top level, but we still won. Maybe you guys can you guys interpret this question better, or should I get to the next one?
I think that maybe what we talked about it. Steve mentioned it. Richard and I have mentioned it on SerieAsitdown when we previewed the derby. We said, look, when it comes to Derby della Madonnina, form is out the window, okay? And there's no playing to form. You play the 90 minutes against the team in front of you, regardless of what you've done. in the previous 5 games, previous 10 games, previous 8 months or 6 months since the restart of the last season. So you play to that form. In Milan's case, you survive, which is what they did, especially over the last 30 or so minutes of the match. You find a way to just get the 3 points, as Steve referred to earlier. So it's no hiccup that Milan won. I think that, if he's saying hiccup, and is he, I think there's a lot of Milanisti still trying to get their hands around the idea that this is a really damn good team now, okay? That we are crawling out of the shit
Abyss.
that was the banter era, okay? Slowly and slowly and slowly. And there are a lot of Milanisti that are still pinching themselves and are not embracing the idea that this is a really good team that's been put together that is managed by Pioli.
Very well said to that. Are you guys seeing the screen over there? You want me to do it like this, Steve, or take it off? I just read from the other ones. So, but Richard wanted to know.
Frank, you're blocking Frank. We don't see Frank.
Sorry. So, Richard wants to know how much. Hold on a second. Let me take off the screen here. Remove. There we go. Richard wants to know how much groveling did you make Frankie do? Richard,
There was no
Go ahead.
There was no groveling. You guys chose to preview the Derby della Madonnina on a podcast that is run by a snake and a Laziale. And I said to Stevie, your punishment is that I demand to be on your podcast. And you guys booked me right away.
The Interista and the Laziale are not going to have us on. The Interista lost the Derby, and the Laziale got smashed by Sand.
And
Yes,
Steve, remember,
you're not inviting those guests on again.
do you remember when they asked me about the predictions, and I started off by saying Lazio 3, Sampdoria 2, and then he started making fun. I go, fuck this, it's going to be... You see, when I make these predictions, when I don't bet, they always come true. Don't bet, kids. Paolo Maldini saying eggs and pancakes, 3 games in a week. We play 1 away in Ireland, 2 at home against Roma and Prague. What do you like to see from Pioli in these upcoming matches? How about Steve? Would you still stick with the same formation? Would you try to, how he adapted with the 4-3-3 rotation, obviously? But Ibra cannot play all of these 3 games. Well, he could probably do it, but what do you think, Steve?
Guys, we're rolling the dice and gambling with a 38-year-old. Yes, a freak of nature,
39.
39, guys, but we can't. It's unfortunately, I can't say that I watch Celtic all the time there, but Celtic lost and did not qualify for Champions League, right? So, Frank, the team that they played against and lost there, and I listened to you guys on SerieAsitdown. It wasn't the best team in the world that they lost to, right? So, but they dropped points, right? So, we need to find Pioli needs to find a balance, and I think that balance is either or Kessie and Kessie and Benacer, either or starting, and either Tonali or Krunic getting some minutes in there, right? It's a combination of those two.
I'd start Benacer because I think that Kessie, at least what I'm showing, and I don't know what the news was afterward, but at least the source that I use for these game recaps, that Kessie was in part subbed out because he took a knock. One of those where I'd rather have him ready for 90 minutes against Roma. I can afford to play Benacer on Thursday and play him again against Roma.
Yeah, I agree. And he has to find some sort of balance there up front. Guys, we don't have. You can try Leao up there again by himself.
Colombo.
We have Colombo, but I don't think the kid is ready. But I would start Leao up on top, and I would have him. I would have him control up there, and it's going to be different. It's not going to be boot the ball and have Leao hold for position, but he's going to have to play smart. And then if we can manage the game properly, Colombo needs to see some minutes there. On the left-hand side, I think just because he had a bad game, I would start Theo Hernandez again. It looks like the center backs, we don't have too many options because we don't have anybody who's healthy. and right back, we don't really have anybody who's healthy.
Duarte tested negative, so
Yeah, they're probably telling him he's gonna be positive again because they don't want him to play.
Ryan Malik on Twitter saying, what's the ceiling of this Milan team? How many more wins and how many more litmus tests to pass till we could start considering the Scudetto as a real possibility?
Whoa.
Oh, no, hold on. I like this, Steve. Now, we've said it always in the past. We never judge, the real judgment we'll always do, like, really is at half season. We've taken a look at, 10 games. At what point in this season where you go, okay, this is for real? We have serious chances to win the Scudetto. What, in your opinion, Steve? What do you think? Or throw it to Frank.
37.
Game 37.
Vinny, I'm not joking. I'm telling you the honest truth. Inter, Lazio, they were at the beginning of at the halfway point, they were tied or close to the top. Things change, injuries happen. You need a bit of luck. There's so many things. The Scudetto is tough, guys. And look, guys, there's a lot of things that need to go right for you to win a Scudetto. And for the past 10 years, Juventus have had the card where they've been the best team by far. That card has gone away. I think that they're up there, but I don't think they're the best team anymore. And now it's who wants to be that best team. Is it going to be Inter? They just lost against Milan. Is it going to be Atalanta? They just got roasted by Napoli. Is it going to be Napoli? They keep on losing stupid 3 points and keep on losing the loss and getting negative points because of these stupid rules and regulations. It's not going to be them. Is it going to be Lazio? They got smashed by Sam. Roma's inconsistent. So, again, I've always said on this podcast and got roasted by many of the other fans, the Lazio fans, the Inter fans, the Roma fans. I'm going to leave Inter out of it because I buckled them together. You'll see my point. Roma, Napoli, Atalanta, Lazio. Guys, the window to win a championship in a Scudetto is very, very small. Everything has to align for you. Lazio, Roma, you didn't want to invest, you're gonna suffer again now. You're gonna suffer again. Atalanta, you wanna invest. It's not over for Atalanta, but they got a reality check.
Definitely from over there. So
I think is less. The window is still there for them because they are dynamic and they are a superpower offensively.
And even Yusuf saying, many times that the Snakes win the winter champions and don't even make Champions League at the end of the season.
I said it in 10 years that the teams that will dethrone Juve and Juve will get a challenge is when Inter and Milan become strong again. And it's
definitely
we have that mentality to win. We have that mentality to invest when we need to invest. And I'm pretty sure if we're close or we're at top at the halfway point and Maldini goes to Elliott, I need X amount of money. There's no financial fair play. I need X amount of money. This is what we need to do to invest to win. I'm pretty sure they're going to give him that money. And I'm pretty sure, and I'm putting all my eggs in one basket that he's going to make the right transfer, right? Those teams like Lazio and Roma didn't do that when they were close to the top. And that's why we have a 10-time champion, 9 or whatever the fuck they're at, Juve with 9 or 8 or how many times in a row they've won it. It's because the window to win is small. I don't look at the table now. I will not look at the table and say we're on top. I know we're on top, but there's so much soccer to be played. There's a pandemic going on at the same time. Anything can happen, guys.
A lot of factors, right? A lot of factors in that, and I'm going to throw this one to you, Frank, because it kind of touches Humud, our friend Humud, saying it was an amazing weekend. 5 years is a long time to feel this once again. Is it wise to say the ambition changed after 4 games, or our goals have changed after 4 games? So touching from the last question there, are you with Steve too? It's like I'm not. We're going to count our blessings right now, but do you think after 4 games that we're saying our goal is to do top 4? Is it still that? Do you need more games to how do you feel about that? Or is it just us getting too excited as fans?
I picked us to finish fourth, and I'm not getting overly excited about it. I'm not dreaming about a Scudetto after playing these 4 games. I'm a believer, and I've always kind of stuck to my guns about this, that usually through 10 games, you got a very good idea of who you are. We've just played these 4 games. I'll tell you the next 6 that Milan play in the league. These aren't the Euro. So Roma home, Udinese away, Hellas Verona home, Napoli away, Fiorentina home, and Sampdoria away. That's a good mix of teams of varying qualities that are going to give us an idea that after 10 games, what are we? Okay. And we'll know, after 10 games, I don't think we're not going to be on 30 points after 10 games. That's really hard to do. We'll take it if it happens, but it's really hard to do. But after that game at Sampdoria, I'll have a pretty good idea after, and enough of a sample of teams that you're going to see up and down the table that tell us who we are and what our ambition should be. 4 games is way too early to figure that out. It's a nice high to be on. We're going to enjoy it. I'm enjoying it right now. But the reality is once we get to that 10-game point about a third into the season, that's when we get a better understanding of knowing what we are and what our ambition should be.
And that's what people have to understand, right, Frank and Vinny? Am I enjoying this win streak from last year to this year? Of course I am. Hey, I'm dancing, guys. I'm watching games with more ease. I'm not worried. And not that I'm not worried, I'm less worried. I have confidence in that they're going to get that goal. They're going to have that 2-0 lead, and they're going to get that third, and they're going to close the game off against the Spezias, the Crotones, etc. But to sit here and say, guys, we're going to go unbeaten. Do you know what it takes to go unbeaten in any league? They can't do it in football, and there's 16 games, Christ. In baseball, there's like 950 games. You can't go unbeaten 950 games. To go unbeaten in the league, you need a special class of players, and everything needs to work out. And that's not going to happen. And that's the only thing I'm trying to say. Manage your expectations. I want to see them against Rome. I want to see them against Napoli. Those are interesting teams that are going to give us problems. If Roma fills out, if Roma understands how to fill out a game sheet and not lose the game before we even start, that would be fun too, because we would actually see them play. And they wouldn't lose the points on Al Tavolino, right? So, Napoli is going to be fun too. They were pissed and they took it out on Atalanta. And I like that. I like that team went out after, getting dealt a really, really hard hand. And even not only getting a hard hand that you lost the 3 points, they even took away another point from you. But you took it to Atalanta and you punched them in the mouth. So,
and we're gonna wrap it up because my what my brioche is, Steve. My indigestion is Presidente sending me messages. Can you please ask Steve how he set up his mic? Your mic at the beginning was too loud. What am I supposed to do, President? I can't do this. I can't do this. Put it over here. Put it over there. Porco de schifo. Here. Put the gain down. I don't understand. Jesus Christ. Go get me a better microphone. Buy me a stand. Porco de Dio. I like to move. Was the Macho Man too loud? Steve, please send me a picture of your fucking microphone. Gesù bambino.
Presidente is a sensitive man.
I see you tomorrow. Sorry. I see you tomorrow, Presidente. He's supposed to... Is this better? Is this okay, guys? Good?
I didn't have a problem with your volume.
I know. Presidente is very... But Steve, somehow he gets it perfect on the first shot. Ask VP. Ask VP how to get it from over there. Love
guys,
you,
I gave you my brioche, guys.
Yes. Brioche, how about you?
A double brioche today. Double brioche. It's special for Frank. Guys, how good did it feel to see Juve crumble at Crotone? Guys, I'm sorry. That was something special, guys. Hey, penalty shot given against them. Wow. That I thought, Francis of Assisi was coming. And all the animals were going to follow him. Then they scored the goal once they were... then they got a red card. And it was Chiesa, which I felt a little bit bad for him because I thought he was having half a decent game. Half a decent game. And okay, but then I laughed because it's Juventus, and I said, you know what? They deserve it after all the cards that were given to the other teams while they were having a good game. And I laughed at that. Then they scored at 2-1. I said, oh man, typical Juve. They're playing like shit. they're gonna come away with 3 points at Crotone. I was like, oh man, do I shut it off or not? And then I walked away, and then I just saw the VAR stuff come up, and I was like, VAR, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. Seeing them go to VAR and reverse the goal. Take away the goal from Morata. Guys, this was like you go to McDonald's and you order a trio, a Big Mac trio, okay? So you got your fry, you got your Big Mac, and you got your Coke. But then when you open the bag, it's drive-through, obviously. You open the bag, you have an extra Big Mac inside. That's how I felt with that. Brioche, number 2 of the week is Juve. Tutti Juventini. Feel how we and all of Serie A have felt, and how the Napoli fans have felt, how everybody has felt for 10 long fucking years of the Zebras being in your back pocket. Take it, Lamar, the botte di acida that you guys have. Take a brioche, because that's how we felt every week, Juventini. Every week we had this acid buildup over here, right over here in the throat, Juventini. That's how we felt. And take it.
How about I like it, Steve. What about you, Frank? Any about an indigestion of the week? Do you have you want to start an indigestion of your brioche? Go ahead.
What gave me indigestion this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh my!
We like putting you on the spot.
I appreciate that. I guess what's giving me indigestion is and I'll talk about it as it pertains to the derby. One performance that's gone under the radar a lot. There's a lot of flow, and I know that Richard was commenting about Kessie's performance, and he was outstanding. And Ibra with the 2 goals, and Calabria and Chiar especially. Donnarumma made some big saves, but Ismail Benacer's performance went under the radar, and he was outstanding. Right from the get-go, his role was marking Nicolo Barella. Okay, he had to man mark him. And it was evident because Barella made a run with the ball into the corner, and you would have thought, okay, Calabria will go and deal with that. And Benacer went to chase it. And we're talking about a Nicolo Barella that I just got done talking about on Serie A Sit-Down, that before our eyes over the course of the season, we're going to watch him grow to be an elite midfielder, not just in Serie A, but in European football. And except for one chance in the first half, Benacer marked him out of the match from an attacking standpoint. And I think that went unnoticed, and that gave me a lot of indigestion that everybody gushed over some of these other performances. And I watched 90 minutes of Nicolo Barella not being a factor for the most part, except for one chance, that little combo in the first half. And that's thanks to the performance of Ismail Benacer. He marked him out of the match.
It's very good observation from there. And like sometimes it's true, like we just concentrate. Am I good like this? Am I okay from far? Okay,
it's
fine,
good. You're good.
I love it.
President the delicate.
I'm gonna get messages now. I'm gonna get messages, but he's supposed to come to see me tomorrow at work, so I'm gonna rip into him. I love him. Never change, President. Never change. Actually, some stuff you could change, but no, definitely. Sometimes some performances, like just cloud other better performances from over there. Very true for me, guys. It's got to be the looking at the Ibra. Supposedly there was some people, one particular guy that was chirping at him from the stands. And he did not say what it was, but he goes, I made sure that he understood that when I scored those goals that I was pointing back at him. You gotta love Ibra. Just, making a point, people will say don't let the fans get to you, or, don't concentrate, they might take away your concentration. No, Ibra's is going to point out, no, you, stop talking. I love that one there. Anything else?
It's the opposite for Ibra. That fuels him.
Exactly.
And it's amazing because there's not a lot of sports people right now that can do that can use that. And you know what, guys? I know Frankie and Vinny, we see it a lot in European football, and it's not the same in American football or in American sports, right? There's the heckler in baseball who sits behind home plate. Okay, it's pretty funny, but the pitcher will get over that, right? In football, there's just so much going on. There's not really anybody who's going to chirp you out, right? In hockey, there might be that guy near the boards, but in European soccer, guys, there's a lot of stuff that these guys, and I don't know if now it's because this guy, there was not 70,000 people at San Siro for the Derby, so he was able to get his message across. but they do a good job of coming together. The ultras, they want to pass a message, they're going to be able to do it. So that was pretty cool. I'm going to give a third brioche because I'm not going to give no indigestion here. Then before we have to leave this out, guys, go see Wanda Icardi's tweet after the derby. Wow. Someone sent it to you, Frankie. If she doesn't win Twitter this week, she's never going to win.
Please share, Steve, with the rest of the world that did not see Wanda's tweet.
She is one of the Who Won Calcio Twitter nominees for us tomorrow night. I promise you that.
But Steve, can you tell everybody what was the tweet?
I'm not gonna paraphrase the tweet because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna botch it there. But it was along the lines of Milan won and congratulations to all my Milan friends. And it was like red and black. Ooh.
Okay, Wanda.
Look for it. No, all I see is her teeth.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thank you very much to Frank for coming on. Great always conversation. Sometimes I just feel like I'm just there in the middle mediating between you. You guys like to talk very and I love listening. I just love listening, and maybe that's why my voice was too high. I was just trying to jump in from over there. But always a pleasure, Frank. And I'll make sure next time I text you, I do not WhatsApp you like I did last
give
time.
Frank some shameless plug time. Some
this is the time to put yourself over, Frank. So where can we find the Serie A Sit Down with Richard as well? Please let us plug away.
Well, Richard and I will be live on YouTube tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel, SerieAsitdown. So go check us out. And we purposely do Tuesday nights out of respect to you guys. We don't want to lose all of our listeners would just go and listen to you, and we wouldn't have Stevie in the chat. And then, what good it would be. It would be we two guys on YouTube just talking to each other with nobody else chiming in. So
it could be like the Monday Night Wars when Raw went against WCW Nitro. You know what I mean?
We don't want that anymore.
And podcast form.
Yep. In podcast form, we have our own channel on Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud. We're also on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere you can find Serie A Sit Down or podcast. You can find Serie A Sit Down. At Serie A Sit Down on Twitter, at Serie A Sit Down on Instagram, and then of course our YouTube channel. Beyond the live recordings, we also will put out short videos as well. Serie A Sit Down, SIT down to VSADC Sports Club. Join us tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you in the chat. And then recently, as part of our podcast, we've had a contest called Who Won Calcio Twitter, which is basically going through all of the fan bases of Calcio Twitter, trying to find some of the funniest tweets of the week and putting them up there and trying to make a determination of who wins and who was the funniest. We've had some pretty good ones. And then, you can see I came prepared for the occasion. I think when you have the video, he had like a bookcase with a green clay molded cat that was on top of it. It was like some kind of a funny paperweight. So Richard, up your game, brother. But anyway,
find you on the Twitter, on YouTube tomorrow night. The Serie A Sit Down, basically talking about all Serie A.
There's Ryan at FTC underscore 21. That's my Twitter handle, and then Richard is at R_KHARMAN.
And Stevie P, any closing comments before we put our exit video?
Guys, just celebrate. Let it sink in,
That's right.
guys. It's been a long time coming. I know we nitpicked on little stupidities. Guys,
Beautiful.
Drink. If you can't drink, smoke. If you can't smoke, find yourself something to do to celebrate because it feels good to win the derby. We haven't done it in the longest time. Guys, just celebrate, even tell your kids. I made it a point to make my son understand what he just witnessed now. Something that he hadn't witnessed in his 7-year life. Let's go.
That's very true. So, guys, keep it positive and keep on celebrating on to Celtic this week. And we'll talk to you guys next Monday. Ovunque e sempre.
Forza Milan!
Forza Milan!
Ciao, guys.